Yeah, can't say nothing now.
You got the camera this morning.
Okay, so I wanna.
Hey, I recognize you. How you doing?
Good. How are you? Is that better?
Now down just a little bit. There you go. Thank you.
Oh, you got it. Oh, sorry. I didn't. Sorry, I'll sit down, be quiet. It's just me trying, full service consulting, Willie.
I was gonna say I know we have electronic controls over there because I've played with them way too much. All right, all well, I haven't got a text back from Jasmine. She's probably on her way, but to respect everybody's time, let's go ahead and get this meeting underway. Start by everybody please stay rise and we'll pledge our allegiance to our flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America.
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible.
All right, thank you, everybody. Please be seated. All right, let me start off by just apologizing that I can't be there in person today. We had a pretty severe incident at my workplace. We had a train derail, and when it did, it erupted a fuel tank, and we're now day 4 and cleaning up fuel from the ground in our river. So forgive me for not being there, but I have to be at both places tonight. So here we are. All right, let's go ahead and call the meeting to order and establish our quorum. Go ahead.
Mayor Warman,
Here.
McCasker,
Here.
Kaminsky,
Here.
Kraxel, here, Whitehead.
And Whitehead is on her way. She'll be there in a moment.
Okay,
Let's see. I would entertain a motion to approve minutes for sessions in January 18th and for a work session in January 18th and for the regular meeting on January 23rd.
I have a couple typos on page 3. There's an R in Explorers. And then is it standard operation procedures or standard operating procedures? Okay, good. That's it.
Did you move the chair?
Not yet, no.
I'll move with that.
Okay. I seconded.
Yeah, we have a motion and a second to approve our, sorry, Jasmine was trying to call at the same time here. We have a motion and a second to approve our work session minutes for January 18th, 2023, and our regular meeting minutes for work session for January 28th or January 18th, and our regular city meeting minutes January 23rd with explained changes. All those opposed, all those in favor? Can't hear you. All those in favor?
Aye.
There we go. All opposed? Okay, passed. Thank you. Sorry, everything, if it's not like direct and loud, everything is a little muffled. Okay, accounts payable, financial report, February 13th, 2023.
Is there anything in addition to what I had already authorized?
Mr. Mayor, yes, there are 2 additions. We have a new employee that we have to handle his first check.
Okay.
And there was just one check that didn't get printed, so she did go back and print the check. Attached also is banking activity, which shows the checks. And if you look on the last page, it shows you what we spent this accounts payable period, which was 20, what was it, 20,000?
22,530.
No, that's what we deposited.
20,914.
Right. So you see we're spending more than we're depositing. And the situation that we have going on, this is not including our payroll checks, because those are journal entries into the system. I have to come up with a way to print out a report yet, so you can see payroll entry. So we're overspending what we bring in by this time of the month.
Well, this shows a deposit of 22,000 and our expenditures were 20,000.
But the payroll is not included in that, and that's about 11,000.
Okay.
Just to let you know. So we need to tidy up where our reports, so you can see what the payroll is every period.
Is that consistent?
Oh, no.
Okay, a motion that they can pay all the bills.
Second.
Right?
So we made a motion and seconded to pay the bill.
Okay, motion and a second to pay the bills. All in favor of paying the bills?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, pay the bills. Thank you. Let's see, what's next? Special orders. Love your library month in Siletz. Proclamation. Actually, because of the lack of great communication, I'm going to have Barbara read that proclamation, please.
Okay. Love Your Library Month Proclamation, February 2023. Whereas libraries connect people, materials, and culture to build and sustain a diverse and vibrant community. And whereas in a world undergoing constant change, libraries provide enduring connections to the past and future of our communities, nations, and civilizations. And whereas the expansion of electronic networks linking libraries and their resources makes possible better and more easily accessible information for library users around the world. And whereas libraries provide entry to important research about health, economics, housing, the environment, and countless other areas to support better living conditions and to help people lead longer, more productive, and fulfilling lives. And whereas the Siletz Public Library offers story times, children's programming, and summer reading programs to encourage children to begin and continue habits of reading that will benefit their personal and professional lives. And whereas the Siletz Public Library supports a competitive workforce with computers, internet access, small business startup materials, job searching, literacy, and other resources to support businesses and economic development. And whereas the Siletz Public Library engages the people of Lincoln County with services, spaces, and resources to enrich their lives and the life of our community. And whereas the Siletz Public Library creates a welcoming environment to celebrate the joy and culture exchange. Now, therefore, that Will Sherman, Mayor of the City of Siletz, proclaim February 2023 as Love Your Library Month in Siletz, Oregon, and encourage all residents to visit our library and thank a librarian for making this unique and wonderful institution possible.
Thank you, Barbara.
Do we have to do anything at this meeting? Well, here, I support it.
The proclamation.
Yeah, well, that library. Everything you said and more. Sure.
Are you guys ready to move to the next thing?
Yes, we are.
There you go. Okay, sorry, it's really hard to hear. Reports of officers, board and stand committee. Start with parks.
Okay, so I don't have a lot to report except that Norton sent an email to Willie and I today from Lisa over at the symphony. And we're gonna try to coordinate some activities for you with the symphony. And so I'm pretty excited about that. So we just got the introduction made. I hope to have a committee meeting here fairly soon to try to get to. So that's it for me.
So on top of that, yeah, I responded to that email as well and let her know that we, some of the standing things that we already have, like movie nights and the car show and things like that. I'd be more than interested in getting together and hearing any kind of proposals they have to join us and use us as an avenue to get out to more community members, most specifically our community. So we'll make that happen. We'll get together soon. Library.
Well, but it's Love Your Library Month. We've got a busy ahead of us. The Friends of the Library are having their annual birthday party on the 25th. That's Saturday from 1 to 3. And during that time, there will be a book, bake, rummage, and plant sale. Gonna be really good things. Gathering from sale items and baking like crazy. We also have a raffle going. That's a fundraiser. And let's see, we have tickets here. You can buy tickets in the library. You can buy them from the library. What else?
Talk about our cake.
Our we have this cake every year. My master is faculty. The have items on them that, and so if somebody declines to make a donation, they can take a candle flame and bring that item into the library at that time.
They're not expensive items as a whole. It's like paper towels, post-it, printer paper. Oh, and I have raffle tickets. My raffle tickets after the meeting.
We're getting feedback. We do love your. The mayor, he's up on there. Okay.
You're getting feedback. Or you say you get feedback?
Yeah, that's the other Mormon. Okay. I can't see.
So
Can you voice?
Please.
Talk to them. See the back?
Well, go ahead.
I can't really hear what you're saying. It keeps cutting in and out.
The library's done with theirs. How about anybody here from the fire department?
I did have the fire chief reach out to me later in the week, like at the end of last week, asked me for a call back. He wanted to have a conversation about something. Not sure what that something is. I've tried to call him back a couple times, and each time he texts me that he's busy, so I haven't been able to close that loop yet, but I will continue to try this week and get that loop closed and find out what he's needing from us. And if it's something relevant to everyone, I will write up an email and send it out to you all so everybody can be in the loop, okay?
Thank you.
How about police officers? Do we have any of our county police officers there?
No,
No, we do not. Okay. Staff reports.
Okay, Public Works.
Go ahead.
Installed the sewer cleanout at the Park for the camp host. Dug electrical ditch for the RV electrical hookup. The new fence is installed. The electrician's supposed to be here tomorrow, but I don't know if he'll show up if it snows to make that connection. The shelves are installed in the shed, and we redid the lock on it. We took all the wood screws out, put bolts in, the reinforced locks over there. That shed we bought. And then over there, there's a rotten stump over towards the gazebo that big tree was. And I'm gonna plan on pulling that out and then fill it with dirt when it dries out. Now.
Good luck.
And I've got it staked off.
Okay.
Installed the key lock.
Alan?
Yeah.
While we're on that subject, would you guys please take a look at the other stumps down in the lower lot that have picnic table tops on them, the round tops? Just check them to see what kind of shape they're in, because if we're in the position where they're starting to rot, I want to get them removed before spring, so people aren't trying to use them. And I mean, people are climbing on those and whatnot, and I don't want someone to fall. So we want to keep a close eye on those.
Okay, we'll do that.
Thank you.
And then we installed that key lock for the restaurant. That seems to be working real good with the fishermen. So
Yeah, they seem to be real happy with it too. So thank you for making that happen.
Yeah, and then we're checking that still at 7:30 and shutting it up at 4:30.
Perfect.
And then we'll start mowing when the weather clears.
Okay.
Sunday, January 15th, we had high flows from a lot of rain out the wastewater plant. Our flows peaked over 1 million gallons a day. We monitored that was on a Sunday. We monitored that manhole, but it didn't surcharge up that pump when we were ready to do it. River pumps were shut off for 9 days in January because of muddy water. And then on January 19th, the same day we put the lock on for the fishermen, we got a report that cows were out on Ferry Avenue. So we went down and rounded them up, and then we got a hold of the farmer. He's from the valley, so it was a couple days for him to get here. But we made a temporary fence. It looked like what happened was somebody might have been doing some survey work and cut the brush, so there was no fence there, and they just walked out. So it's all. Also on the 19th, Darren and I joined in on the webinar about the new lead and copper rules, and it gave us some good information. And then Darren attended school last week and provided more information on new lead and copper rules. I think we're just going to have to expose the pipe on each side of our meter box and see what the pipe material is there. Back east, where they have the issues, they're going to have to dig the meter box, have to dig halfway between the house and dig at the house. Okay, perfect. We don't have to do that here in Oregon. Yeah, and so that's got to be done by October of 2024. And then on 2025, when the new testing requirements come in, and Oregon's still working on it.
Well, let's make sure that when we get ready to do that, we get together and come up with a plan and execute a plan good. So we're just not jumping all over the place and trying to do it as organized as possible and get it done.
Right. We only want to do it once, so we don't want to keep messing with it.
That's right. Best way to do it is come up with a plan, execute the plan, check things off as we go, and make sure that it gets done properly.
Are they looking to eliminate the copper connection?
Well, what they're looking at is lead.
Oh, okay.
See, they had that big issue in Flint, Michigan, where they had all these lead service lines, people got sick. There really wasn't much of that in Oregon. And what we were tested for, we've been testing lead and copper for 25 years. And we were focused on the same places, things built in the 70s that use lead-based solders. And those were all good, but now they're expanding that out and want to do more tests at more places. We don't know the exact thing yet, but we got a couple years to go.
But it's coming down.
It's coming. Okay, on January 23rd, 4:30 in the afternoon, we got an alarm at the wastewater treatment plant inflow pump station. Showed a ground fault on our number 2 pump. We had that a month ago. And we cleared it, and we thought maybe just some bit of moisture. Well, did it again, it wouldn't clear this time. So, when we pulled the pump, we had the electrician come out and check it, it showed a ground fault. So, Darren and Ted and Derek pulled the pump, and then the electrician wired it up, set that pump back in. I think the pump might be all right, it might be the core. Because I watch the amps on that every day, and the amps were good on it. So, but that cord sits in the water. Oh, it's, that was a good environment.
M-Shaw rated.
Yeah.
SO cord.
And that pump's been there a long time. That pump's been in there 5 years. Okay, and at the end of January, we had to prepare for cold weather, put heat lamps in all our backflow devices. And then for approximately 2 weeks, we had noticed that the water production was going up at the water treatment plant. And so, and then over the last week in January, I noticed it was going up more, so I started looking around for it. I called the fire department to see if they used water. They use a little bit, but not what I was looking for. And then later that afternoon, well, about 6 o'clock at night, the fire chief called me and said, the trailer park didn't have any water. So I went down there, and what happened was they had a leak down there, and a plumber shut the water off and fixed it. And I'm glad I did that, because I wouldn't have known where it went. If I had down. So they got it back on, and next day our production's right back where it should be. Then we hired Jason Brooks, new guy. He started February 1st. And then we filled potholes on Darcy Lane and Slippery River Drive.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're
I
welcome.
noticed that
Notice that?
right away.
We completed, set off our year-end reports, most of them for 2022. The I&I report for the leaks in the sewer line, we do that every year. Biosolids report, the polymer use report for the water plant. And our annual water quality report called the CCR is due in June. It's completed. We'll probably post it on the website probably in April. And then we'll be working on the cross connection report this week, and that's due at the end of March. And then we're going to be working on our budget. And we'll get with Barbara on that. Then last Monday afternoon, I received a call from owner of 331 River Road. And he said the neighbor at 323 had filled in drainage ditch between the 2 properties and drains 2 other properties. And so I went up there right away and looked at it, and they filled it in, and they put a 6-inch pipe in there. They had an 8-inch going in, but they put a 6-inch in it. And the concern is, you know, it's in city right away. City's got a 30-foot road easement. And so now, if it backs up, who's on the hook for that?
Well, the property that filled it in is for sale. With the market. So if it's not remedied with the current owner before that property sells and it's not disclosed to the agent, something happens, you get a backup deal, then you come in the problem.
So I got a hold of, I had Ron Enforcement guy was here Tuesday. I took him over that last Tuesday, and he made some calls. And then we met with the owner on Thursday when he came in. And we're not having very good luck getting hold of somebody. Ron asked them if they had a survey done. It sounded like probably not. But they are approaching probably 15 feet on city right away. And this ditch is on the far end of that. And I mean, it looks good, but we don't know if it's going to drain during high water. That's what the owner's concerned, the other guy's concerned about. And so I'm not sure what we need to do.
Well,
Kind of a mess.
the problem is it's a city right away, and they heard the city before doing it. They put in a 6-inch pipe and it's being fed with an 8-inch.
Right, and that's not the only place it drains in. It went into an open ditch and kind of went to a swamp area there. A great big ditch on the other side, west side, and that's all open. So,
Well, have we notified whoever the realtor is?
yes, Ron did that. He called the realtor
Okay,
and he asked who did it, and so he got a hold, and I don't think the owner answered, but he found out who was the original contractor last year. Talked to him, and he kind of got upset. I don't know if this guy was part of that. Ron will be here tomorrow, and hope he's got some more information.
okay. Because at
Yes.
least minimum, the realtor should Sorry, the realtor should know because he has to disclose that.
That's what I was saying. It
If
needs to
there's
be
an
disclosed.
issue.
I think, and then I talked to the owner again, the complaining owner, he said he thought real estate was, first was out there Saturday. He's called. So I don't know, we'll see what happens.
And has they sent something to the owner? And you then post on the city driveway, you need to review this.
Yes, we can, but we want to wait to talk to find out who actually did it and carry it forward.
Yeah, and see, the complaining owner, he left for work, he come back and woke up. He
When
didn't
did
really
it
have
happen?
it.
When did it take place?
Sunday, last month.
Oh, just recently?
Yes. He called me Monday night when he got home.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of times we have these disputes, but the private owner, the private owners would say doesn't get involved, but here we got a 30-foot city street there. And, you know, it's always been working and all of a sudden they did that. So,
Yeah, we can't let that just.
well, I guess I could probably use liability for the, you know, the guy that drains his property, and then of course, the new person comes in there. See, I met with the original contract a year ago, and they're building it up a little bit, and I told him that you have to maintain the drainways. It worked all winter for the guy till he don't know if it's gonna work now or not. There's no way of knowing if that's gonna be enough.
What did they fill it with?
He filled it with inch and a half rock, and he put that corrugate, that's a perforated pipe with a saw coat. Keep the debris out, but it's only 6 inch.
And you got 3 properties feeding it?
Yeah, and it comes off that hill, you know, that house, the old Walton house, that all comes.
So here's the thing though, is if that's, if he put a smaller pipe in on a city right of way, I mean, the bottom line is, yeah, the sock and the gravel, that all sounds good. I mean, that's how we build drains here too, but it needs to be the right size pipe. He can't just decide on his own what pipe he wants to put in the city right of way. So, I mean, we need to figure this out quickly and get him to fix it before it's too late. Because
The issue is the size of the pipe, Willie. The issue is he did it in the city right away without conferring with the city.
okay, well then that's a conversation we need to have with him for sure. But I mean, I thought he just said the pipe was changed to a 6-inch pipe and it was an 8-inch pipe. Is that not what I heard?
No, I mean, you misunderstood it. The 8-inch pipe going, it was an open ditch, but he had an 8-inch pipe going to the open ditch. And he
Okay.
took a small pipe, shoved it up in the 8-inch and filled it all in.
But yeah, he did use a smaller pipe.
Yeah, so he went from, so there's an 8-inch pipe that went to an open ditch, and he put a 6-inch pipe into an 8-inch pipe because it was for whatever reason. I mean, I think, hang on, I think at the least, we need to reach out to this guy quickly before he gets too done with it and walks away, and make sure that pipe's the right size and get it done the correct way. And he needs to be, a lot of people around here do the same thing. They go about their business, not even realize that they should reach out to the city, or don't know where the city right of ways are. They just know that they have a problem. I mean, I have that same kind of a problem in my area, only, you know, I'm in City Hall all the time. So I reached out to Alan and have had Alan look at things for me. Not everybody knows that they need to do that. We just need to make it clear. And if it's a problem, we need to make him change it and put an 8-inch pipe in.
Right, if even that's, like I said, I hope to have some information from Ron when he shows up, we got a hold of the owner.
So what would the normal process be for somebody?
Typically what happens is somebody wants to fill in their ditch for the house, I come and look at it, and we inspect the kind of pipe that goes in, and then if you put that, then you put rock over it. Something like this, you almost have to get an engineer involved, you've got so many property owners going into it. And, you know, I'm not really equipped to figure out if that's gonna work during the winter. If you wait to see how it works, then you're gonna flood. And the complaining person has a basement, or excuse me, a garage, water will go in there.
Yeah, the problem is if we wait and see if it works and it does flood, then it's gonna cost somebody something down the road, and it's probably not gonna cost the person that put it in. So that's why I'm saying we need to, I mean, it needs to be figured out pretty quickly so we can get this done right before it's too late. Because once it's in there a year and someone walks away. Once
well,
it's in there,
the problem is the property is on the market. It's on the market, so it needs to be dealt with now.
That's what I just said. It needs to be done immediately. Because once it's done and it walks away, then whoever's going to have to deal with it is not going to be the person that put it in. So we need to have it taken care of right away. So let's just stay on top of this. Okay, Alan?
Yeah.
Get with our code enforcement tomorrow. I'm working nights right now, but I'm around the house. I usually wake up around noon. So for when I'm on nights. So if you need me, call me. I have no problem coming down to the city, or send me a text. And as soon as my eyes open, I'll come running down there if I need to meet with you guys and talk. Okay.
I'll probably have Darren shoot you a text and then we'll call when you get up.
That works.
Okay,
Alan, no pressure.
yeah,
They-
that's it.
That's
Mr.
it?
Mayor, I do have a, staff report.
Okay.
Okay, I just want to let the council know that Dyer Engineering will be here on the 27th at a work session at 5 o'clock. We sent a list of questions that when the mayor, myself, and funding agencies all set in on regarding the rehabilitation of the wastewater plant. They gave us very specific questions to ask of the engineer, so he will come and give that presentation to us. So that's on the 27th. I have a Zoom. meeting.
Hang on just a second. With that, Alan and Mark, you guys, everybody that's worked on that system down there, everybody that's involved in that, make sure if you have any questions, you get them ironed out and ready for that meeting, please. Get them to us so that we can ask all the right questions. I don't want to have a meeting and then have to come back 3 or 4 times with more add-on questions. Let's get all the things answered that we need to have answered.
Yeah, I have one issue. I'm not gonna be here. I've got training. I gotta go to school that day.
You don't have to be here. You've got a guy that's your backup, and it's a work session, so we'll all be there. But if you get us the questions ahead of time, we can ask the questions, and that's not a problem.
Okay, cool.
And then Zoom meeting with the new bank for security. Our onboarding is tomorrow. I see that they're putting out flyers in all the communities that they're now in the bank. Even if we were with Bank of the West, I see now they're consolidating with another bank too. It's called, I can't remember. So it seems like all the banks are making, moves and consolidating. So it's kind of interesting, but that's tomorrow. Just to let you know, we had put $2 million of our funds into an LGIP account. So between our 853,000 that's in our LGIP, we have another 2 million. So in 1 month, we made $6,515 of interest. So it was a good move. I'm going to depend on our CPA to help me figure out a little bit of the havoc it caused in our budget numbers, but that's all ironable. Money didn't go anywhere with this investment.
Hey, question.
Yes,
How much did you say we made in 1 month in interest?
$6,531.
Boy, it sure would have been fantastic if all of this money would have been in the right place a long time ago. I mean, I know that that's a moot point, but I just had to say it. Thank you.
Yeah, our CPA kind of helps us along in making those good moves.
Well, thank you.
Our invoice cloud, we've had about 78 payments that people have gone and done the online themselves. So we're encouraging people to do that, and it's working out. And so far, there's no real glitches. There was one that a staff member pointed out that you could go into everybody's account and see what they owed. You could see their name and their address and what they owed, but you couldn't see any of the private information. But we got that fixed. They fixed it. So now you have to know your account number and your name to get into your account. So that was a new fix, but we appreciate staff letting us know that. Other than that, I've been working, I know I canceled on the 9th for the employee handbook, and I do apologize, but there's things that have taken precedence, and that's getting these bank reconciliations done. That's just, I'm all focused on that, and it's taking a lot of effort. And I'm just gonna say something simply, that if we have inept people putting in information into a not so good system, you really gotta jump the mess. So it's really about who we allow in our system and what we allow to be entered into our system that we really gotta pay attention to. So through all that, I'm finding out what you don't want to do. So that's my big lesson of the month. But I'm still working on the employee handbook. It's just going to be a little bit later because the rate study is waiting on the bank recs, the CPA is waiting on bank recs, the auditor's waiting on bank recs. So time crunch is on. So that's all I have.
And staff.
Thank you,
report.
Barbara. Thank you very much. Let's see, next. Public comment. Do we have members of the public online or in the office that'd like to make comment at this time? Public comment is open for the second time.
What was that? What was the question?
Public comment? And public comment for,
Yeah, any question that anybody has.
now's the
really,
time, if you have a
I can
question for
answer
us.
anything in front of.
Oh, no, you have a question for us.
Yeah, I need to open up some book.
Okay, there's a library.
Oh, that's great. It has books. It's been John, Bruce, Ohio. Bruce, family. Always, yeah, always. Where's my feeling?
Sir, do you have an issue you want to speak of?
Yeah, there's a lot of things about the people that are homeless, the homes that are available for people coming in and sitting at the rental place. And so that money can be used to fix, well, or to spread the trailer. It's away from that block. Going that place, been there, like Nora. Oh, Jesus Christ.
So what can we do for you this evening?
The deed show coloring, I think we're just on the same page.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Jolly good show. Here.
Let's move on.
Okay. Any more public comment? Okay, I'm closing public comment period. We're moving to unfinished business. Section of attorneys to interview from RFP.
Mr. Mayor, if I can help out, we have 2 submissions, proposals on the table, and the council just needs to decide if they want to interview both, if they want to interview one or none, or they just need to make a decision if who they want to interview, and then set an executive session to do that interview in executive session.
Barbara,
Yes.
my question is, of those 2, isn't it, is one of them outside of our region and they're not eligible? Isn't that correct?
Well, Mr. Mayor, they are outside of our district, but that's up to the council whether they're eligible or not.
Okay.
There's multiple ways to define District 5.
Yes.
And they're in one of the District 5s, just.
Which one?
The state's District 5. Yeah. So.
Well, I know personally for me, I just soon interview them both because we want options. We don't want to be pigeonholed into just one person. It would be nice, since we only got 2, to interview them both and make sure that we're choosing the person that best fits Siletz, that knows small towns and knows how to deal with us. We don't want to end up in another situation where we have a council that doesn't specialize in municipalities, that doesn't really help us a whole lot. We end up spending more time and paying for more research time than actual work time. So let's keep that in mind and talk about interviewing them both.
I would like to interview both because they both have pros that could fit with us, and I can't make a decision without talking to them myself.
That's fair.
One word comment.
No, it's not time for public comment anyway.
So could we do this at our February 27th work session?
We have to have an executive session.
You
To
can't
do the interviews. Is what. Barbara said.
Mr. Mayor, I'm suggesting you do it in executive session because there's a lot of issues we need to inform these
Right.
candidates about that have client privilege information that we don't want to just.
Right.
And I think we have to be very candid with these folks.
And I agree with that, but I'm saying, are we able to do it on the 27th when we have that work session? We have an executive session portion of that talk with the attorney. Or is it too busy on the 27th? I'm asking a question that.
Oh, well, it depends on how long you want the executive session to last, how long you think the interviews would last. The work session is at 5 o'clock, so that's a half hour. We've only allowed a half hour to be engineer to speak to us. So that's solely up to you guys what you want to do.
Well, that,
And then it's regular session.
and then the other consideration is one of them was outside the air, I believe that move was in Eugene.
Mhm.
And so you're gonna have to choreograph the time also for an out of town visit. So that's something that will have to be worked out and then we decide, when's the next meeting? Month from now or 2 weeks?
27.
27.
27th?
I don't think we can do it all the same.
Yeah, I mean, we have a work session followed by a regular meeting, so I don't know that we can fit it all in at that time.
Okay, pull your calendars out, everybody.
I'm fine after the 22nd.
I am gonna be gone out of town. You don't have to have me here, but I'm gone from the 7th of March till about the 20th of March.
From the 23rd through the 6th. It's our goal. I think I'm pretty much okay except for on Thursdays.
How about the first week in March before everybody's gone?
Would it, not to throw a wrench in things, but it would be easier for the council to delegate to one or two of the council members to make the decision on behalf of the council, so that we don't have to try and get the whole council together. That way,
I don't oppose that.
that way it would make it easier to accommodate an out-of-town scheduled visit.
I kind of want to hear from them. And I don't think it should be limited to just two of our council.
Okay.
I'm open with her.
So who was speaking? Who was saying to limit?
I'm saying, this is Tina, I'm saying I don't agree with just a couple people making the selection. I think we need to hear from both firms.
And so I know that I want to hear because we have some big things going on that are going to affect us all, and this person's going to be representing us all. So I think that you're probably right. I would feel more comfortable. I mean, I'm fine with whatever the council wants, but I would honestly feel more comfortable if everybody possible was there to ask questions and get buy-in, because we know we're going to be using this council as representatives or as our representation soon. So I want to make sure that everybody is comfortable with that. I'd rather we could all be there.
So the 3rd is Friday. How about that Wednesday?
March 1st,
Mm-hmm.
I'm available.
For what time? In the evening.
Is everybody available March 1st for attorney interviews?
I am maybe at 5:45.
Okay.
At 5:45.
I'll be available.
I'm available. Tina?
Let's go for 6 o'clock.
Jasmine, are you available?
Sure.
Let's reach out to these firms and see if we can schedule our first, or our interviews. First one starting at 5:45 on March 1st.
Okay,
Barbara, get back to us, let us know if there's any problems with that, and we'll reschedule from there.
okay.
Excellent, excellent. Strickler property. Update status of tenant occupancy.
The tenant has not found any place to go. And before I left for out of country, I looked at a contingency plan just in case he couldn't find any place to go. And I met with the county on making the area occupied for her and make it permitted officially through the county, and they gave me the information, and I just need to commit to the money right now that I'm back in the country. And so I guess that's what I'm doing right now, is just saying I'm working with the county, I'm committing, paying the money to make it a place for her to stay officially permitted. That's where I'm at right now.
So, Barbara, will you explain our process?
Well, the situation is that it's single family residential there. And I think Public Works would have to address whether you're gonna allow 2 residences to be hooked on one meter sewer. So, and this is something that you're establishing, setting a precedence in the community. If you're gonna allow that, then others can do that. If that's what the city really wants, then that's something that has to be discussed.
And to make that happen, it would be a conditional use permit.
Yes.
That would have to go through our planner.
Yes.
Okay.
So is anybody occupying the home?
Yes. The manufactured home.
But there's a home on the property, there's a single family residential home on the property. This is all taking place in an outbuilding, a garage.
Correct.
I thought we had this discussion.
Yeah.
Okay, I've been out of the loop for a little bit, so.
Well, Mark, you have not been out of the loop because we haven't had this discussion again since the last time this was brought up when Mr. Strickler was there.
Kevin, I thought the last we left this is that you were gonna abandon the plan to allow the living in the property.
You can't find a place. I mean,
Well,
the thing is that I know it's not your problem, it's not my problem, but I'll pay the money if I have to convert it.
but you understand what Barbara just iterated and what we're hearing is that although this is being presented as a humanitarian step, it sets a precedence within the city.
So, and I would like to say that I am in favor of us looking at an accessory dwelling unit ordinance because we have a homeless problem. We have people who keep on housing, and ADUs are a solution to that. And so if we can look at that as a council and see what will work for us, that could solve this problem and perhaps some others. Of course, it'd have to be permitted, they'd have to meet all requirements, but accessory dwelling units are often a solution for people who have parents who need to live with them or a sister they're taking care of. I don't think I want to close the door just because it sets precedent, but I want to look at how can we make it work the way we're okay with.
And I agree,
And there's some pretty homes set up that way in this city,
Yeah.
but you don't know about it.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
People have additional different for Airbnb.
Yes, exactly.
Did you like renovate the space?
Yeah, the space is all pre-wired and interior walls. So I have to actually bring it down to make it permittable to the county.
And has the county visited the property?
No, we discussed it though, the plan. They have no problem.
We don't have a way to proceed is the problem, because we don't have the ordinances in place to accommodate this problem.
We can't proceed. We can proceed on the path we're at right now, letting you go through the county, and we look at the ADUs on a parallel process on the ordinances. Well, that's happening.
Okay, so what is your next step with the county? Are they planning to visit?
That is what I'm gonna ask them, if they wanna come over and first inspect or have me do the renovations first, then have them go over and inspect and go through.
Have they given you a criteria that you have to meet in writing?
Yes.
Do you have a copy of that? Can we get a copy of that? Kevin, that would be appreciated.
So Kevin, did I understand correctly? You said that you have to downsize it
Yeah.
a little bit?
Yeah,
Okay.
it has to. No one has to have, the counters can only be so big, and the fridge can only be so big.
Oh, good Lord.
Yeah.
Well, you're
Well,
trying to do everything the right way,
I,
Yeah,
and I want to be able to do something, because he's not the only person in this position.
no.
No, it's not.
No, but I'm in agreement with Susan that I want to see us move forward with some provisions for ADUs, because if we don't do that, one of the things I talked about before and was, when I was at the tribe, we had worked with COG, Commission of Study, to see if we had buildable land, because I was hoping we could expand our urban growth boundary and city limits. But the study that they came back with was based on lot sizes like they use in the city of Newport, where you literally can reach out the window and touch the next person's building. That's the standard they use. So they said, oh, there's plenty of buildable land. So it didn't support expanding either the urban growth boundary or the city limit. I still hope we get there, because I think we're placing a huge burden on the relatively small population within the city limits on all of the investments that we have to put into to upgrade and upkeep all of our systems. So I still hope we get there, but if we don't take a look at something with ADUs, I think we're harming ourselves in the long run, not just you guys. I'm talking in general. We're harming our citizens if we don't take a look at what the process should be, what the cost would be, so everybody knows it upfront. And I don't, I have my own personal feeling about what we should do and not do, but it may not be the same as all the rest of the city. Not just the city council, but the city in general. But I think we need to have, we need to.
So is this a garage?
yeah,
Does it have a garage door?
no.
Okay, that's one of the things they tell me.
That's up to. Yeah, that's what I can, I mean,
We're-
put a garage door in
We
here.
can have this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, everybody, let's regroup this for a second. Can you all hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I'd like to see the letter you got from the state, or from the county, I mean, on your requirements. I think that if you're going to have someone down there to look at it and say, this is, this is what you need, this is what is acceptable, there's going to be some things that we have to chime in on as well, like having that unit have its own water meter and so on and so forth. I think Alan should be a part of that conversation or a part of that walkthrough when the county is there. And I think that we need to make sure that we know exactly what's required before we before we say, make any kind of decisions. And I don't know who said it, because I can't tell who's talking, but somebody said that this is a big implication for the whole city, and it is. So we need to make sure that we do this right, so that we don't come back and say, oh, we've made some decisions and now you got to change this and you change that. We just need to do this once and do it together.
So, Kevin, if you have no scheduled visit with the county at this point.
No.
So your correspondence with them is what?
being face to face talking with them in the office.
And so are they giving you direction to take to meet this criteria?
That's the only thing I have to do is meet that criteria there. And the only thing that I have to do on there basically is the countertop needs to be, the cupboards need to be less.
Okay, and you have a time frame to get that completion?
Yeah, I'll have to go over logistics with her, how to get her moved off to the side or her stuff moved around.
Is it something that's gonna happen in the next month?
Yeah.
Would you come back to us in the next meeting and keep us updated? And if you have questions about the city's criteria, will you contact City Hall and get a hold of Alan?
Well, I'm worried that we're giving him permission.
Well,
I don't want to give permission
we're
right
not
now.
giving permission for anything. We
Hey,
don't
hold on. Let Tina finish talking. Go ahead, Tina.
I'm just worried that by us saying, well, just keep us updated, it gives the impression that we're okay with this, and I'm not okay with this. And I'm afraid to say it's okay because we don't know if it's okay, and we don't have any kind of an ordinance or anything in place for the ADUs. I don't mean to be mean to whoever it is. I don't even know who it is, but I think we have to be very careful by saying, okay, just come back to us, because it's not that simple, and the county doesn't get to decide for the city.
And my thoughts exactly in the beginning of my questioning on this thing, but we don't have any ordinances in place. So we have a decision tonight. Do we let this gentleman continue to allow the living in the space today? Or do we say, no, we're not going to allow it until we put something in place? Everybody in this room knows that there's a lot of work to do to put an ordinance in place to allow this to happen by the letter.
But I also don't want to give Kevin the impression that if he just does what the county has given him the letter, that it's all gonna be okay, because we don't know that yet, and I don't want you to put out a bunch of expense to then have us turn around and say, it's not gonna work.
For me to say is, I'm not gonna spend any money and then have a price of rent, that's not my problem. I feel like I should go through the effort and see if I can make it work.
I'm excusing, just because we do have such a large system of housing right now. And if we have nothing stating that we want to offer, and I really honestly think that we could probably work on it together. So
Mr. Mayor and council, there are
Yes.
other things we have to consider too, and we have to go through other ordinances. One is parking. So there's more to it than just the dwelling, it's the parking, it's access.
I
etc.
went over that with code enforcement, and they said there was no problem. I showed them the parking area.
We have to look and make sure it matches the current ordinance with the
Oh.
city.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Is it possible to do, at least start the conditional use permit process?
We don't have any criteria to
No.
match the property to.
Okay.
We don't have anything in place. That's the problem. I'm trying to accommodate the gentleman this evening.
Yeah.
Without him having to go back and tell the individual that's living there, I'm sorry, you've got to leave the property. That's all I'm trying to do this evening. That's what I heard from
Yeah.
the rest of you, is that we don't want to be displacing people, but we don't have the tools in place to accommodate it by law. Or by ordinance, so.
Okay, so let's have a suggestion on how we move forward with this, okay? I mean, I've heard the same thing. We don't want to displace people, but we don't want to say, yes, this is okay for now. So give some suggestions. Where do we want to get to with this? Because at the end of the day, this person's either going to get a temporary, another extended temporary time to stay while this gets sorted through, or not, and they have to move out. So let's sort this out right now.
Well, that's what I was suggesting, is that we give him till the next meeting, come back.
I know what you were suggesting. I'm saying, let's do it right now and not hold this up any longer. Let's have this, get it on the table. What do we want to do, folks?
So you heard his suggestion. The only reason this is here is because he came here and shed light on it. There are multiple people out there that have not done that. And I would like to say that he can continue on down this path while we work on all of the ordinances, because we want to get everyone in compliance, whatever it is that the community decides that's going to be.
That's what I was trying to say.
There's gonna be more and more coming out.
Yeah.
When-
And Kevin has been forthright in coming to us in advance. And we're not dealing with him as somebody that's trying to hide what they're doing. He's been in here
Absolutely.
a third time.
Absolutely. I totally understand that. And we all know that. We've been to the meetings. So
If we can't
I'm-
take on people who are currently not following the rules, then I don't think we should take action on the one person who came in here until we have our rules in place. That's my opinion.
I agree.
Well, I think that's kind of simplistic in that
Yes.
we have to come up with a process to move forward, but covering our eyes, ears, and mouth and saying nothing isn't the answer either. So I think we need to set a direction for how we're gonna get to the end. If that means in 30 days, we're gonna be looking at an ordinance or whatever, but I think this, and I don't think anybody here, I think you can hear that. Nobody wants to penalize you or her or whoever, because it's true, there's other people out there that are in the same situation, just not as honest about it. But we can't just leave this stuff hanging
I
either.
just haven't been caught yet.
We just have a lot of work to do to put an ordinance in place. It's not as simple as everybody thinks. You don't sit down and write it in a half hour.
I think we
We would have
could,
said before.
I think we could maybe look at trying to get the ordinance in place by end of July. So I know we got budget going through June. That's gonna take all the time in the world. We still gotta hire counsel to advise us on all of this. So is that what you were looking for? Was like
Yeah,
a
just
process?
having a direction.
Yeah.
But saying we don't want to penalize them is great, but it doesn't push us into
Yeah.
taking action either. And we can't sit on our laurels either, so.
Agree. So I would,
So we'll work on the three.
so I would move that we put onto our upcoming work sessions agenda no later than the end of July, ordinance review for accessory dwelling units and other building codes, i.e. park.
Well, I'll second that.
And in the meantime, I suggest that Mr. Strickler come back to us at the next meeting, advise us of any progress that he's made on the property in correspondence with the county and our public works people to make sure that our plumbing, electrical, and so on and so forth is meeting code.
Yeah,
That's the best we can do.
I was just inspected for the sewer and inside.
You know, the primary concern is public safety. We
Yeah.
don't want stuff bootlegged in out of code. We don't want people's lives in danger.
It all passed.
Yeah, and then we have to deal with our public utilities, you know, making sure that the city is not just accommodating.
No,
No.
I understand, not accommodating the shanty.
Mayor, there's a motion and a second to put this on ADUs on the agenda by the end of July work sessions. And
Okay.
any other codes that go along with it.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second to have this discussion again with, we have a motion and a second to add the
ADUs,
hang on, sorry, I'm trying to turn around here. Just give me 1 second. We have a motion and a second to put our ADUs on a July work session.
By the end of July.
Oh, by the end of July.
Want to develop it by the end of July.
Okay, are we all in, or who are all in favor, please? Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Okay, that's what we'll do. So with that said, are we going to give Mr. Strickler a timeline to keep this person in this home with some updates in the meantime?
I suggested that he come to the next meeting, which is a month.
Yes. Mark, I heard the suggestion. I'm asking everyone else if they're agreeing with this.
Yes.
Yes.
I don't think
Okay.
there's opposition.
Such a fun meeting.
Well, we're dealing with issues that we're, I mean, it's just,
It's a big commitment.
Absolutely.
we understand, and we thank you for, for being straight up with us. And on behalf of the city, I apologize. We're not equipped to deal with your problem.
Yeah,
We have to work on it for all that.
If you, point of order, if you want to, join meetings virtually or by phone, that's totally fine. You
Okay.
don't have to come in and sit and do everything. if you want to.
Right.
Hey, I want to reiterate that too, Kevin. Thank you for being straightforward and honest and working with us through this. This is all new stuff. I mean, it's not just new to us, it's new to the whole country, kind of. Everybody's dealing with similar things. Thank you for being straightforward and coming in and giving us an opportunity to work with you through this. Do
All right.
appreciate it.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Moving to the next, we have the homeless ordinance. Susan Traxel.
Okay. I think notes. Where'd it go? All right, so I was not able to go to the advisory group meeting last week. I have not yet received minutes from that meeting. I don't know what happened there. But
Okay.
I will let you know that I have reached out to Oregon State University, and they are very, very interested in help using their students in their master's programs to come out here and do the community groups and all of the questions that we need to do around developing a houseless ordinance and putting together a report for us sometime in May. So that we would have all of the data on what the community wants to have happen. So then we make an informed decision on the ordinance that we install. So he will get back to me when I return from vacation, and I can give you guys more info then on what they can do for us. Most likely it will not cost us anything because we're a very small community. If that doesn't happen, I think there might be some way that the current consultants from Portland might work in those community meetings for us, because I told them that's a need we really need to have happen. So, so that's where we're at on that. What else do you want there? Oh, and the other piece with the Oregon State University, they would also look at possibly having those master students work with us just with travel time or maybe their cost to do strategic planning coordination with the city. And that's my report.
Excellent. That would be cool to have some college student help. That would be pretty neat.
Masters.
Sorry, masters.
They already graduate.
Okay, well, they're until they're in the workforce, they're and still studying. They're college students, but thank you. Okay, new business. Let's see, engagement letter, audit preparation and financial statement. Rob Moody.
So thanks, Mayor Borman, members of council. My name's Rob Moody, partner with Marina and Company out of Tualatin. I've worked with some of you before. There's some new faces on council, so it's nice to meet you. Our team has put together the arrangement letter that's before you tonight to try and basically get you through the work that needs to happen in order to support the financial statement audits for year end 21 and 22. There has been a bunch of work that's been done already on the fiscal year 21 audit. There's been information that's been sent to the audit firm. I know Barbara's sent some information. We put together some of that information working with Barbara. There are still a handful of things that need to be generated in terms of work papers and supports for that audit in order to finish it. The 22 audit, we basically kind of have to start from the beginning and build the year's records. Again, working with Barbara, that's why one of the reasons she's working on those bank reconciliations, because that's kind of the starting point for all of it. My team's ready to start on this as early as tomorrow, assuming that there is approval from you all for this. We have worked with the city in the past and will continue to do so to try and keep your costs down. The numbers in the arrangement letter are not to exceed numbers. So if we can get through it at less than that, we'll bill you less than that. The specific asks, if you will, are listed in the letter. I guess at this point, I would take questions if there are any. We're committed to helping you get this thing done by the end of March. The auditor indicated, the audit firm indicated that they could do this work in May. That gets you through your 2 years of audits just about in time to start the 23 audit.
So 2021 is still unset.
That's correct. There has been no audit report issued.
And doesn't 2022 depend on the final of 2021?
Yes.
Doesn't 2023 depend on the final of 2022?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Barbara, what did we budget for the audit for the 2 years? You know,
If I may, Mr. Mayor, I believe it was 14,000 for just the audit.
for
Just for
year?
1 year.
That's for Grimstad.
Okay.
So I'll ask Barbara, do we have funds for the max 20K?
Mr. Mayor, if I may, we can find it in contingency, and I'm even willing to go to water and sewer contingency funds, because that is what most of this is about, is utility bills. And I was speaking to Mr. Moody prior to the meeting, and I said, well, if it's not over 10%, we don't have to do a budget amendment. But then he corrected me and said, but you do have to take it out. We have to pass a resolution that we took money there and placed it over here. So we would have to do that. We can find it. It's not the most optimal thing that, you know, but we can't move forward without it. Yeah.
So the 20K that we've got to spend, is that going to close out the 3 years of audits?
2 years.
2 years.
Yeah.
We'll basically, that will allow us to put all of the information together and get it to the auditor to support her actual field work and issuance. I have no control over your auditors,
No.
but we'll get all of the information that she needs and get it to her so she can do her work.
So this is in addition to the cost.
Yes.
We're severely under budgeted.
This is
Cover
just,
all the costs. Okay.
this is just fixing the numbers to get it to Grimstad.
And if I may, I would really, and of course, if you have the CPA, I would really like to ask for a disclaimer of opinion on both of those years. Because I don't want them digging. I mean, I don't want them digging deep and us spending way more time than we have, because just am I working through it?
Well, I don't know, I don't think to worry about that. I just say that rubbish stuff and it couldn't be.
But a disclaimer of opinion, could you
So
speak to that?
there are different levels of assurance that an auditor can give. And background, I was an auditor, government auditor for a number of years before we moved to our consulting practice. So there's different levels of opinions that can be given. The highest level of assurance is what we call a clean or an kind of lost the word now, unmodified opinion. The next level down is a modified opinion, which means most everything's good, but you have some issues. A disclaimer or an adverse opinion means there's some big stuff wrong with your financial statements. A disclaimer of opinion means we're not giving any opinion. We just couldn't do enough work to take a position. Well, that's the levels of insurance.
And so what you're looking for is to submit to Grimstad with a disclaimer opinion. Is what you require.
Is a request. I don't know if that would be the,
That would be a conversation that you would need to have with the auditor.
Well, and the reality is that until Barbara got here and started turning over rocks and finding more rocks underneath rocks upon rocks, the audits never made sense anyway. All they were doing was rubber stamping the numbers that they were presented with. And we're not looking at books.
Mr. Mayor, if I may too, a lot of the problem I see right now is we don't, and Mr. Moody can correct me, but from my past experience, my 30-some years of experience, is the way you work in a city office is you have work papers, you have documents that have been created for you by the CPA that tells you this is what you need to have in all these months. Every month you got to have this. There's nothing like that here. And I think there may have been when a couple of times ago, recorder was here. The auditor probably set it up for him. I found that to be in Depot Bay. She set up work papers, which I don't think is supposed to happen that way from what I understand of it. But if you don't have the work papers and know what you got to have, you're not going to be audit ready ever. And so I think from what I've talked with Mr. Moody's partners or team, Craig, he said part of this whole thing, he'll be giving up the work papers as well as we go along.
Yeah, basically any work papers that we create for the city will become property of the city. And our team will go over those work papers with Barbara, and it'll be not just giving you a fish, it'll be teaching you to fish.
So come next year,
You should
Barbara will
have,
produce the work papers.
We'll have the templates in place.
you'll have the templates in place, yeah.
And then
And we,
visit.
we're still around to help if that's needed, but Barbara will have at least the templates and the work papers there to
So we're
know what
inventing,
needs to be done.
we're inventing the wheel then.
A little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit. At least we know what the wheel looks like.
And then you have every quarter your CPA, you send your work papers to the CPA just to give a brief overlook. And they say, yep, looks like you're on track. And then time audit comes, you're ready to go. You get the finalization from the CPA and off you go.
What are the two funds of the contingency?
We have a bit in just the general funds, and we have water and sewer.
It's not uncommon to help fund your audit and accounting expenses from utility funds because they're benefiting.
We just have to pass a resolution.
Right.
Will, you hearing all this?
Yeah, I'm hearing all this.
Sorry, bud.
Just feel like we're bleeding money sideways and we're not really, I don't know. I haven't heard where we're moving forward at all.
Well, that 2021 audit was the Achilles heel.
Oh, I understand that. I know all of that. I mean, we've talked about a big part of the problem is the software system that we have. We've tried to get approval to replace the software system. I mean, there's a whole bunch of things that need to happen to make this fix. We need to get it fixed. Bottom line is we've been talking about the same thing for a year and we're still in the same place. So, I mean, I know Barbara's kicking butt and she's doing all these things, but we need to do what we need to do to get this moved forward so we can start worrying about the year upcoming instead of the years behind us.
With the prior approvals for deliverables was the 2020 papers or audit.
21. We're, everything we've sent in so far was for 21, but there's some tweaking. We got it back from the auditor.
Okay.
And I don't even know what she was talking about, so I sent it off back to the CPA and said, what is this now? So they need to tweak some more numbers to it. And so that's 21. 22, we haven't even started. I'm
But
working
you
on
guys
the
all put this 2020
No,
no.
as well?
no, they were on board. It was the show that.
And when I was here previously, it was just in the role of basically helping with the accounting
Mhm.
on site. We didn't do anything in terms of.
And Mayor, I will apologize because I feel like a lot of this, we've been talking about it a year, but I've been giving it my darndest for a year. And
I know you have. I'm not griping that. I'm not trying to downplay all the work you put in at all. I just want to hear a plan to move forward and see where we're at with all that. Because I don't want to keep being stuck in the mud is all I'm saying.
Willie, it sounds like they got a plan. It sounds like they're going back and forth between the CPA and Grimstat and Associates. And eventually the numbers will make sense. The 21 audit will pass, and then the 22 will be subsequently followed.
Okay, so what is it you need from us right now to make this happen for you, Barbara?
to accept this engagement letter from
Okay.
the CPA.
Basically, give her the authorization to sign it.
Council members, where are we with this?
It's 20 grand, Willie.
I understand. I heard all that. I heard all that part. I'm just trying to make sure that we're all focusing on what she's asking and not getting too far in the weeds of the different aspects of it. Do we have any more questions before we're comfortable making a decision?
I make a motion, we accept. I make a motion, we accept this.
Someone else was talking. Go ahead, please.
Well, I don't want to interrupt Mark because he was making a motion.
I make a
Sorry.
motion, to accept this acceptance letter from the accountant, and we move forward. We don't have a choice.
Discussion before we second.
Thank you. So my question is this gonna prevent us having to do this again down the road? Because if it is, there's no, I'm not reflecting on you or your company, but if this isn't gonna get us out of having to repeat this, I don't wanna spend $20,000 to do this again next year.
Tina, let me see if I can explain it.
Hang on. Thank you, Tina. That was my biggest question too, is I don't want to keep
I don't need
going to
to-
the same place.
I need to make sure that what we're getting out of this is not gonna lead us to having to do this again next year for a couple of reasons. I don't believe that Barbara is in the same place that previous staff were in, but also if we're putting all this expense out, but our system isn't gonna kick out what we need, we're gonna be there again next year. So I wanna be assured that both pieces of the pie are taken care of, not just their work, but we're not gonna walk into this again next year because of our system.
Once again, the 2021 is the trigger. And the templates that he's talking about, that gives the tools that they need ongoing from the future forward, keeps you from going back to this again.
Hang on, but Mark, there's something that you missed in the last few meetings that I'll try and make real quick and easy. What Tina's right. And so are you. Yes, this is going to give us the tools to move forward in a sense. But what we've heard for as long as I've been mayor is that this software system we have doesn't support. It's not the right software system. It's nothing but problems. And the last meeting we discussed moving forward with the new software. We discussed looking into making sure ARPA money can be used for that and moving forward with new software. I mean, if we do all this work and then we use the same old software and we end up in the same place where we don't have the templates, we don't have the ability to do the work, and it's not able to transfer over to audits and so on and so forth, then it doesn't get us anywhere other than in a year, we'd be doing the same thing again. So where are we with all of this? Are we gonna, is this gonna buy us out now? And is new software gonna fix this for the future? We need those answers because it can't keep throwing money at it.
Okay, I digress because I forgot about the software problem. I know that it was an issue back then, but it's escaped my mind.
That's all right. No worries. No worries. That's why I just kind of stopped and said, whoa, let's regroup and talk about this. So where are we with all of this?
Mr. Mayor, may I?
Yes.
So like I alluded to earlier, if you don't put in correct information into the software you have, it's going to produce junk. It really is.
Yeah.
And no, I don't like the software because it's really not accounting software. It's a billing utility software is what it is. But I don't feel I am willing or able at this point to take on another task of changing the software because we just got into Invoice Cloud. So that would undo that. So I think we can live with the software and we can get what we need once the CPA and I work together and say, okay, what is the most resourceful thing we can get out of this? Yes, I would love to have a new accounting software, but that undertaking is monstrous. I mean, it's just not an overnight fix. It's not a month fix. It's like a 6 months to a year fix. But I don't know, you can ask the CPA. He's been through other cities with that. But right now, I think we need to stick with what we have, stay the course, fix what we have, get the stuff cleaned up that it has been entered wrong. I mean, people would go in and write checks and then delete it. There's a $32,000 check out of 2022 that doesn't show up in the system. However, I do know it got paid. So, you know, I mean, that is just bad inept people entering in stuff into the system. That's what's being corrected.
Okay, so what you're asking for, what we're proposing to do right now is going to fix this up to 2022. And then we're going to look at new software because we have to fix this. I mean, I don't want to keep hearing the software issue if we're not going to fix the software issue.
Willie, what I think I heard her say is that if the current software is used correctly within its limitations, the problems won't persist.
I understand that. And I heard the same thing. What I'm asking is, we get this done, then what? Because we're not going to keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. And I keep hearing how terrible the software is. If that's the fix, we need to fix it.
So Mr. Moody, can you answer my question? I understand what you guys are gonna do. But in relation to the software, because you've been dabbling in it, I think for a while, correct? Or, okay. So are we gonna be able to walk out of this at the end of the 2022 audit and not have to engage you to come back in next year to do this for us again? With the current software that we have? That's, I think, our question.
I don't think I could guarantee that. I think that, so here's what, if you want my opinion, Mayor Warman.
He does.
Okay.
He doesn't know it, but he
He
does.
doesn't know it, but he. So
Apparently I do. Go ahead.
I owe you, Willie. So here's what I would propose is that we get the 21 and 22 audits cleared, because otherwise you're going to start losing your state shared revenues as well. Okay, so let's clear the decks with that. We will generate some work papers, some templates, and some procedures along the line that are going to help us get things kind of stable from an accounting side. At that point, we're probably in a better place to look at your software options.
And there's,
Okay.
my experience with loading software is, yes, it takes time, but
It's
there
about
are
an
different,
18-month version.
yeah, it's a while. But there are pieces that you can pay for to have them do some of the uploading work and all the stuff that would normally take from the staff time. But I would like to move forward looking at software when it's done, knowing it's going to take a while, and hopefully using those ARPA funds. I don't know if we can.
There
So
are,
I'm fine with it.
and there are well-established steps to go through to help with that software, you know, evaluation and then selection and then implementation. There's plans for doing that. There are folks out there that can help you do that. So that would be my recommendation, that we get this thing kind of cleared and stable and to a point and do them in order. Now, I don't want to speak for Barbara because I know she's stretched,
Mhm.
right? Saying that. And we will do everything we can to get this first stage done, working with you.
We've got to clear 21 and 22.
And then if you want, we can help put together that plan for the next phase and the software thing. We have worked through that with other organizations, but I'm not here to sell you something that you're not ready for. Okay. I don't want to appear that I'm here pushing you to that next step.
Well, I don't get that opinion, but I'm still wavering on how I feel about this, because it's a huge investment, and Barbara, I heard you, you're probably maxed out with what you have. I'm not, none of that has bypassed me. I do know that we need to get past the 21 and 22 audits, but I have this lagging feeling that we don't have the answer yet. And I don't think you're proposing anything that we probably don't need. But I'm gonna be honest, I feel like we don't have the solution. I just don't.
The software, if I may, the software that you have now is used by only 5 or 6 entities in Oregon.
Mhm.
It's a little bit more widely used in Washington. It was written for Washington. It really isn't designed to do what y'all need. So it's not the ultimate answer. Can it be linked through and used? Yeah, I mean, because some organizations are doing it, but it's a lot of work.
But the templates that you're talking about developing will help take some of those bumps out.
To an extent, because the information still has to be drawn from the financial software. And then basically put together and summarized for the auditors. That's what a lot of these templates are. They're analysis, they're taking information from the checkbook and helping categorize it so that it's laid out correctly to support the financial statements. They won't take the place of your financial.
Reality
software.
is we've got to clear 21 and 22, and the cost and lengthy process of switching software now is not a feasible project.
Not at the same time as this. one.
Not at the same time. Yeah, that would be a mistake, in my opinion.
Would it be okay with you, Tina, if we amended to include investigation into new software again in fiscal year 23?
It's irrelevant to the motion.
Yeah.
My question has only been semi-answered. I don't think you can fully answer it, and I'm not blaming you. It's just, I'm worried that we're walking into a $20,000 bill to get us through the 2 audits, and it's not even gonna get us through the 2 audits. That's the thing, because then we still have to pay for the audit. So we're talking, what, 35,000 to get through the 2 audits. And at the end of those 2 audits, yes, we'll have a framework for what Barbara needs in order to set up for the 2023 audit. We don't know if we can pull that out of the software. So I don't know where to go with it, because I'm feeling like we're throwing a lot of money out there and we don't know if we can fix this problem. So I wouldn't muddy up the resolution with the software issue, but we've got to keep this on at some point, because I'm not comfortable spending this kind of money and not knowing that we're gonna turn around and have to do it again.
Well, I think the proposal says not to exceed.
I'm well aware of that. I read that. That's not the point. It's a year from now, when we have to do the 2023 audit, do we have to turn around and do this all over again? Because we can't pull out of the system what we need. That's my concern. I don't fault Barbara. I don't fault Rob. I'm concerned about us throwing a lot of money at something and not fixing it.
Well, it seems the alternative is to not throw the money at it, and we sit here with our 2021 audit not being resolved, and it starts affecting our state revenues. We gotta get that clear, or we're gonna start losing money.
And I'm aware of that as well.
Just looking at the reality.
As am I.
I know you are.
Tina, ultimately, you just said the same thing I was saying. I'm fine with spending 20 grand if it's going to get us out of this and we're going to move forward. I'm not fine with spending 20 grand if we're going to spend 20 grand and then 20 grand's gone and we're still in the same
How do you guys feel? 'Cause I'm-
place, walking around in circles trying to figure out what next.
No, I don't.
So what I'm gathering is a lot of it who's the previous employees. And them not fully understanding how to utilize the software correctly. And now we're in this deep hole because we have previous employees who know how to utilize the software and now people can't get information that they need. That's what. So don't you think that the end result would be we could come out of it if we take care of this and change our software and have confident employees? That's what I'm saying, but I don't know why. That's the, yeah, so we've already talked about getting new software. At that previous meeting, that's already set in motion, and so if we need something to give us a boost out of where we're at this point. I don't see. Because I see it in result.
I think the trick will be when we start the software process so that it doesn't overflow your work even after the budget's done.
Software change is expensive and time. It's time consuming.
Right. I believe we have to have those funds spent by the end of 2024.
The ARPA?
Yeah.
That's my understanding.
Yeah. So if we were able to start
Calendar fiscal 24.
the calendar. So I think we should continue with our goal of getting the new software by the end of 2024.
Absolutely, because we need, the only way we can afford it is to use this ARPA funds, providing that, I keep hearing back and forth whether it can or can't be used for this. We need to have that as an answer first. And if we are going to use the money for it, we need to make a plan to have it done before we lose the money. And just get that set. As far as what we're dealing with right now, what are we going to do? We're gonna approve this 20,000 and get this moving forward, or where are we at?
The motion is on the table to approve the 20K.
Okay, do we have a second? Sorry, I didn't hear if there was.
I was giving you a chance.
Oh.
Type in.
I already did one. I second that motion.
You did second. Okay, like I said, I couldn't hear you. For some reason, Jasmine, you're the only council member I can't hear. It's like you're the quietest.
That's weird because I'm really loud.
I know, that's why I said it's weird.
I'll just pinch her once in a while, so she'll squawk.
Thank you. Okay, so we have a motion. We have a motion and a second on the table. Is there more questions or conversation before we call for a vote?
Yeah, where Christmas Day around there.
No,
here
sir.
at their home. I don't know. I understand some questions.
Please.
I'll listen.
Willie, I think we're ready for the question.
All right, thank you. So we have a motion and a second on the table to approve a $20,000 spend, max spend, for the CPA to help prep us for the 2021-2022 audit finals. All those in favor?
Aye.
I,
All opposed?
I,
Okay, so we have 3 ayes, 4 and 1 opposed. Passes. Moving on.
Thank you, Mayor Warman. Thank you, members of council.
Rob,
We'll get it
get us
going.
out of 21, 22.
That's where we're headed.
Please do, sir.
Where we're headed.
and Rob, that no wasn't about you or the company.
It's not personal.
Yeah.
Hey, everyone, I want to be super clear before we move to the next agenda item. Once we get this sorted out and we get at least a light at the end of the tunnel, it's time to get new software. As we keep hearing that that's part of the problem, and I don't want to hear about it anymore until we start making moves forward. So as soon as we feel like this is the old software we're done with these audits and we're ready to move forward, it's time to get new software.
That's not very good.
Okay, next. Let's see, new business.
I personally, it's about the Tiki Illihi Park Coach program. I have not had time to review this, but I'd also like to be able to take it to my review. So I hope you're not asking for approval today.
Mr. Mayor, it's in draft form. It's to get something on the table. You've been pushing for something to be done, so this was the first draft of it.
Okay.
for review, so, it sounds like Councilor Casket is going to take it to your committee to review the draft you have and.
Yeah, and I'm sure it's fine. I just need more time to review it and get input from the committee so they feel like they're part of the process. And
My only input on this so far has been maybe, change the word. Park host shall reside within the campground, we need to change that to park.
Because it's not a campground, yes.
And then perhaps adding an email as an option to submit their applications. And interviewing, maybe we can talk about this later, but if we want to include Zoom, if there's someone who's coming from far away, maybe park host somewhere else, we want to come here, if we can do a Zoom, so they don't have to drive all the way here. And they don't like them. So that's it. For me.
Okay. I think you're right, Tina. I think you need some time to sit with your committee and talk about it. I mean, this is obviously going to be a council decision and how we move forward, but the Parks Committee is the Parks Committee. You guys need to have your opportunity to go through things and make sure you're comfortable, because you'll be dealing with those folks more than most of us. That acceptable? We'll talk about it in 2 weeks.
I don't know if I can get the committee together that quickly, but
We can talk about it. We can talk about it in our first meeting in March.
Okay.
That work for you?
sure.
Okay, let's push this till March, and Barbara, you and I will talk a little bit more about what you guys found out as well. Okay.
Okay,
As soon as I'm not on night shift anymore, I'll come in. I'm not promising I'm going to come in when I'm on night shift.
Thank you, Barbara, on behalf of us for getting the draft started anyway. Thank you.
Okay. Budget calendar. Appointment of budget officers. Posting for budget committee and members.
I would like to make a motion that Barbara is the budget officer.
Second,
We have a motion and a second on the table to make Barbara Chesler our budget officer. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, so be it. There you go, Barbara.
Barbara's not smiling.
I would also make a motion to approve that we post for budget committee members.
I second.
We have a motion and a second that we post our need for budget committee members right away. All in favor? All opposed? Okay. Barbara, do you need anything else?
No, that's it, man. Thank you.
Okay. Correspondence. We apparently got some more correspondence from TextMyGov.
Mr. Mayor, if I can address this.
Please.
I was called the other day by TextMyGov, which I didn't know anything about. But found out you guys paid $3,500 in 21.
Yep.
It's a 2-year contract, so it doesn't end until September. And they're already looking for the second payment, which is $2,500. I told them that I could not make that payment. We have never even put it into practice or did anything with it. So, so they said I could stall the payment till after the budget. They would let me stall the agreement until after the budget, but then know that it's going to go on for another year past that for $2,500.
This takes my vote.
TextMyGov was a great TextMyGov looked like a great plan. The council got behind it because of just how they presented it and how we were going to use it. Our past recorder was very interested in it and done a lot of work with it, sat through the meetings, and then once we had some short, well, I don't know the best way to say it. We had some folks leave due to illnesses and whatnot. TextMyGov, we've never used it. It died right there. Tracy was the one kind of pushing it and working on it. And when she left, it just kind of faded away. I didn't even remember we were involved in TextMyGov until Barbara brought it up for a second payment here a few months ago.
Okay, that's our history with it. What is it?
I can answer that, Mayor.
Yep, go ahead.
It is a program where it would be set up where people could text the city with whatever it is, like if you wanted to report something or they had a question about something, they could text and it was just that. That's what it was.
And who does it go to?
It would have gone to the city office staff.
Okay.
So it would have been Tracy. But
Or
then-
whoever.
Yeah, whoever's there.
Well, and the other side too is they also, when we were first getting involved in this, it was going to be able to go to, if we had passed a code enforcement back then, which we were working on, it would have been able, you could have done like code complaints to a code officer. You could have done instant texting to a hotline that would have fed back to the police, all of which the police ended up later not supporting. And we didn't get a code enforcement officer until just recently. So all of that was part of the program we were buying into that we were sold on that really never came to pass.
Okay, so we signed a contract for 2 years from 21 to September 23. Correct?
Correct.
And we just need to pay the balance of how much?
$2,500.
We didn't pay anything on
We
it?
paid $3,500.
I make a motion that we ex-nay,
We
TextMyGov.
won't go for it.
I tried.
It's not, we signed a contract. You're kind of stuck.
We have a contract with a government agency. We've got to pay suck it up and pay what we've already contracted to pay and then be done with it afterwards. I mean, if we want to find a way to use it in the process, great, but then we teach somebody to use something that we know we're going to get rid of in a year. It seems a waste. I think at this point, we just have to pay what we got suckered into and be done with it.
I believe this was just informational, correct, Barbara? Just so we're aware.
Yes.
So where could we take it from? Do we have any idea?
Right now, I don't.
Okay, so by next meeting, can you come back with a suggestion of where we know? I don't want to extend this an additional year.
No.
Like Willie, I just want to pay our debt and move on. So could you,
I believe there
before,
was an option to wait until the next budget year. Okay.
but then they're gonna extend it an additional year.
No, it would be paid for the year we're currently due. for.
No, you extended it.
No, we don't want to.
No, we don't want to extend it.
You can pay it off now at a discount.
Say that again?
We'll give you $1,000 and we'll send Guido to visit.
Because of the connectedness of the community.
Is it a private entity or a government agency? The private.
Well, we'll figure out how to do it.
We would end up paying a whole lot more than that if we had a site with them.
Yeah.
So better just to pay the thing off and get out of that contract. So I just asked if Barbara could bring back a suggestion at our next meeting of where we might be able to get the funding from, the 2,500 and end it.
That sounds appropriate to me. Barbara, can you do that for us?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. All right, let's move to the next budget 101 training with LOC.
Mr. Mayor, if anyone's interested, it's at a cost, but we do have still funds in the council training. If anybody wants to take budget class from LLC, the state is giving a free one next month, which I'll be taking. It's 3 different days, and I take that one. So if anybody wants to, and they're free, they're Zoom, you can just get right on, and there's PowerPoints, printouts. So I've never attended LLC's budget class, but
I don't want to spend money on it.
how much is looking thing? I couldn't tell you right at the moment.
This is like $80 million.
I think it was around.
And you said that the state's gonna provide the same type of training
Well, this,
at no cost, or is this about the state revenues?
no, this is budget law.
Okay.
So it is budget training, how to do the budget, why our budget looks like it does, why the forms are what they are, and what you have to consider to put in the budget, how you lay it out. It's a very good training. And I go to it every year because budget law changes.
I'm sure, yeah.
I actually sat through the Oregon budget law training in Albany last week that they recorded, and that's what they're going to be providing next month is the recorded sessions.
With the League of Oregon Cities training or?
No, it's Department of Revenue.
Good.
And it is really good. They did a nice job.
So can you just send out notice to all of us how we could access it if we want to?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'd be more than happy to print the PowerPoint for you to like it, because it's good if you follow along with the PowerPoint.
Yeah. Is that something that would help us help you?
No, I don't think it really helps you guys. There's no help.
Shots
How long is budget training? Is it an all-day training?
No, it's 4 hours at a time. So it's 3 different days of 4 hours.
Okay.
It's intense, but it's good. I mean, we're engaged, yeah.
Moving on smartly.
All right, guys. LOC state shared revenue reports 2023.
I just put that in there, Mayor, for council's information. That's where they come up with our DOT payments, or ODOT payments that tells us what we're gonna get in our next budget. So if they were interested, there it is.
So we are getting $126,000. We did the math.
Give or take. We usually get 99. Give or take.
Maybe that could pay for the.
No, it goes to 3
La, 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 la.
Okay, thank you, Barbara. Okay, home repair program.
Mr. Mayor, this is brought to us from our code enforcement officer. It's a program that we posted it around town, and people just need to be made aware of. If they're low income, they can get loans and grants for repairing their home. So,
Nice.
flyer, and this is the information on it.
Is that the community services consortium?
No, it's
Okay.
not.
Is there a link on there that we can post on our website?
Yeah,
Well, why don't we make that happen, and I'll post this around and get people interested in it as well.
Okay,
There's one through, well, this is, so Community Services Consortium has a similar program, but it's no cost to the homeowner if they qualify. It's an income-based program. So if you're gonna put this, I would get information from Community Services Consortium.
Yeah, it would be nice to have a link to both if there's options for folks. That would be great.
Well, this is a loan.
Mhm.
That he provided. Community Services Consortium is a grant.
Okay.
yeah, this
Cool.
one, if you, you get the money up front now, but you have to pay it back once you sell your house, if you sell your house.
And see,
Gotcha.
it's a grant program.
So
So,
if you don't sell your house.
no, but CSE isn't based on whether or not you sell your home or
Yeah,
anything.
it's
It's a
just
grant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This morning.
So it is an income based, but you'd be surprised how many people will qualify for it. And it works on tribal property in addition to the community, which is unusual. So I
Low
think
income as well.
it's an income based program. But if you qualify for certain things, including low-income energy assistance programs, you automatically qualify for CSE. And so I can send you some contact information for the CSE. I would hate to have somebody walk into a loan if they can get a grant.
But this was great info.
It is, yeah.
Outstanding. All right. Thanks, Tina.
Thanks, Barbara, who brought this other one.
Council comments. Council members, is there anything else?
Oh, I have something.
No.
What? I just want to let everyone know there is a League of Oregon Cities Spring Conference in Seaside. It's April
Yes.
25th. They do have some small scholarships available. I don't think I'm going because I have to work, so. There's also a community development block grant that's open with the application due April 30th for its public works projects. So I don't know if this might be something that the tribal grant writers knows about.
There is no travel grant.
Okay. Yeah.
So if they don't,
Okay. Well, I will look at that myself.
Maybe after offline, out of meeting, you can talk with Barbara, because I know that we have been kicking in circles what we can use the 10 hours of grant writing for that we have been given. I don't know. I mean, hello?
I have another grant for you. It's through AARP. And they have flagship grants that will help improve public space, public places, transportation, housing, diversity, digital connections, civic engagement, and community health and improvement. And then they also have a capacity building grant to improve walkability of our neighborhoods, or community gardens. Yeah, so those are due very fast, March 15th. So I would think that would maybe be an idea for our 10 hours, since it's such short time.
That's fabulous. I love it. It's great. Talk with Barbara after the meeting and see, because I know she's already done some work with Sequoia. I want to make sure that we are already in a direction. And then bottom line is, I don't want Barbara to have to work on any of that, because she's got her hands full. And if she can pass it off to someone in her office to work on, fantastic. That's what kind of things they should be used for. But if we have the ability to use Sequoia, then that as well. Just want to make sure that we're using her time the best.
Okay.
But I will also say that if it's a situation where it's something like some of the grants we've had in the past where we can fill out ourselves, I would be more than happy to come down and help dig up information and help write the grants so that we can gain some ground for our city. You know, I no one's alone. We're all in this together. We got four council members and myself. We can definitely divide and conquer and look on the internet for things that we might need and so on and so forth. Addresses and all the stuff that it takes to put a grant together if that's what's needed. I'm more than happy to spend some of my time helping.
Mr. Mayor, I just want to make council aware too, that the probability of us getting grants and going down that road right now are pretty slim because we don't have 2 or 3 years of current audits. So that's going to be a real hang up for us.
I think the AARP one is every year. So we can look at it again later.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
And I think the community development block is every year as well. So for next year. And then I had a question. So I saw that the governor's emergency declaration for housing left out Lincoln County. I haven't heard if the county is going to be applying for that or if we are doing it individually. You know?
Mr. Mayor, if I can respond, I believe I heard on the last Friday afternoon League of Cities is that the county's doing it.
Okay, great. That's it. The list is awful.
So after our joint meeting between the tribe and the city, I got a lot of positive feedback from the tribe and tribal employees, and they were very, very pleased with the direction that the meeting went in. I just want to know if we've had any feedback from them, if they have proposed the next meeting date. I know that they'd like to post over there, but if we've gotten any proposed date from them.
No. Mr. Mayor, if I can answer.
Go ahead.
Not yet. I haven't seen any yet.
Okay.
I haven't gotten anything yet either. And I do, what I did last send to Curtis was that I'd like to make sure that they're sending us some talking points as well. So they're not just our talking points. And he said for the next meeting, they'd have more talking points now that they see what direction we are kind of going. So, this is a joint meeting. It's not our meeting. It's a meeting for us together. So I want to make sure that everybody's issues and situations are heard. I do know that our next meeting will take place at the Tribal Center, council chambers, I believe. And yeah, I'll let you know more as soon as I know more.
And Mr. Mayor, if I could add to that, I've directed my staff that sends out the agendas that this is a courtesy. We're always giving it now to the GM of the tribe and the assistant GM, just so they know what's on our agendas.
Perfect. That's a good step. Thank you. Any more council comments? Okay, hearing none, I do want to say, Mark, thank you. Welcome back. Oh, was somebody trying to talk? Go ahead.
I just want to let you know that fire chief has arrived in case you wanted a report.
What's that?
Fire chief has arrived. He is here.
Okay, we're on the precipice of adjourning, so yeah, I suppose we can give a moment. Fire chief, what have you got for us?
I'll be pretty quick. Let's see. Well, grants, actually, I wasn't going to bring it up tonight, but since you did, there's the Spire grant. It's put out by the state of Oregon. They do not require records. There is no matching money. And I know that I talked to Darren and Marilyn last year about generators for the water system for the city. And there's a new woman overseeing the whole program, and she's receptive to lots of suggestions. So they sent out a survey asking for different equipment to be included. And I said, well, along with generators, what would really be good is if you included the transfer switch for that size generator. So, and really all that's required is letters from your stakeholders. So, Randy Storms over at the tribe would write a letter, I would write a letter, the city would write a letter. Because it's sort of self-serving, because if your water doesn't pump, we can't put fires out. So, we sort of have a little motivation here, and I would be willing to write that grant. It's really a simple grant. It's like a 2-page grant. Doesn't require a lot of information. I just don't want to go forward and do it without the city's blessing, or I could help the city do it. We could all write letters together and explain how. Jenny Damaris even said she would write a letter of support because she can't believe that a city wouldn't have the power to pump water. Boys.
What do you guys know about that?
I think we heard about it. I've got a list of the equipment it takes to get everything set up. And we'll meet and see if we'll get included.
Say what?
We'll meet and see if we get included. in it.
Yeah,
So
well,
wanna just-
yeah, because they have that list of what size generators you need for that. So, yeah, so we can talk.
When's your due date?
They haven't released the date yet.
Okay.
So they're having 2 webinars. One is this Wednesday, and I think another one is the following Wednesday.
Okay.
Well, I would say, Chief, that's if you're, obviously council needs to chime in on this, but I mean, from my point of view, I think that would be a good starting point for us to start, the city and the fire department to start working together and maybe do this jointly. And I'd be willing to donate the time, dedicate the time to help write this, if that's the direction we decide we go, or if it works for us.
And the tribe has a vested interest also, because you guys supply water to them. So, I mean, everybody is dependent on the water pumping. So.
Yeah. Totally agree that everybody should write a letter and everybody should be on board with it. I'm just, what I'm saying is I'm willing to be the person to sit down and do the work to write the grant with you, or however we're going to do it, if that's the direction we decide to go.
Sure, no, that's good. Well, the more people that read it and prove it, the stronger it usually is. So,
Excellent.
just lots of little things, but really I just would ask anybody who might know somebody that would volunteer. We're in desperate need for some more volunteers right now, so if anybody knows of anybody that has a pulse and can pass most of a background check, we'd be happy to have them.
All righty.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Any more comments, folks?
Move to adjourn.
I second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Hey, thanks, everybody. And sorry I couldn't be there in person. I will see you all soon.
Remember, I have the cake over here if you want to give the library a present, and raffle tickets if you want to donate money to our friends. Always
Thanks.
working on the project.
Thanks, everybody. Meeting adjourned. I appreciate you all.